Hello, everyone. Good evening. For your hope in me and to help me create better stories, tell me in the comments where and when you listen to my stories, and get ready to start the story by liking and subscribing. Chapter 1: Whispers of the Harvest Moon. In the gentle cradle of ancient England, where rolling hills whispered secrets to the wind, and rivers sang lullabies to the stars, there lay a village called Eldridge Hollow. It was a place where time moved as slowly as honey dripping from a comb, and the people, descendants of the sturdy Saxons, lived in harmony with the earth's quiet rhythms. The air was always soft, carrying the faint scent of wild thyme and dew-kissed meadows, inviting you to breathe deeply, to let your shoulders soften and your eyelids grow heavy as you settle into this tale. Imagine yourself there now, dear listener, walking barefoot along a mossy path that winds through golden fields. Your feet sink into the cool, forgiving earth, each step releasing a sigh. The Saxons, those seafaring folk who crossed the North Sea in longships around the 5th century, brought with them a deep reverence for the land. They were not conquerors of chaos, but builders of quiet strength, tilling soil with hands calloused yet kind. Their year was marked not by rigid calendars, but by the moon's gentle phases and the sun's arc across the sky. The harvest moon voice, when she spoke, was a murmur that soothed even the most restless heart. "Gather the sheaves," she would say, her words floating on the evening air, "and let us weave garlands for the gods who sleep in the soil." Eadgith was the keeper of lore, descended from lines that traced back to the Witan, the wise councils where Saxon kings once deliberated under oak groves. She taught that the harvest feast was more than mere merriment. It was a bridge between the seen and unseen, a ritual to calm the spirits of the fields and invite peaceful dreams. As the sun slipped below the horizon, painting the thatched roofs in amber glow, the villagers began their preparations. Young Aelfric, a boy of 10 summers, with eyes like polished chestnuts, helped his father bind the last of the wheat into tall, golden dolls, straw figures called Maidens of the Harvest. These were not idols of fear, but gentle guardians, stuffed with the season's first fruits. Apples soft as sighs, nuts cradled in their woven arms. "Why do we make them, Da?" Aelfric asked, his small hands steadying the twine. His father, a broad-shouldered man named Wulfric, paused, his calloused fingers brushing the boy's cheek. "To remind us, lad, that what we reap is a gift, not a taking. Place one at your bedside tonight, and it will watch over your sleep." Across the hollow, by the banks of the silver-threaded Winth River, women like Mildrith stirred pots of barley porridge over low flames. Mildrith, with her laughter as soft as falling petals, added honey from the wild hives, gathered under the waxing moon, as the Saxons believed it held the sweetness of Freya's touch. Freya, the goddess of love and fertility, was invoked in these moments, not with thunderous prayers, but with shared glances and quiet songs. The porridge simmered, releasing vapors of cinnamon and clove, scents that wrapped around the gatherers like a mother's embrace, easing tensions from furrowed brows. Historical whispers tell us that Saxon feasts were feasts of fellowship, rooted in the pagan calendar that later blended with Christian tides. The harvest moon echoed the old blot, a giving of thanks through simple offerings, before the church bells of the 7th century softened its edges into Lammas, the loaf mass. Yet in Eldridge Hollow, the old ways lingered like mist in the valleys, teaching that gratitude was the key to untroubled nights. As the stars pricked the velvet sky, Eadgith led the procession to the great barn, its beams carved with runes of protection. Anzus for wisdom, Urus for strength, but above all, Lagus for the flow of calm waters. The barn doors creaked open, revealing a space aglow with rushlights, tallow candles made from rendered fat, their flames dancing lazily, inviting shadows to play without alarm. Tables groaned under the weight of the modest bounty, loaves baked in the shape of crescent moons, cheeses wrapped in nettle leaves, and ale brewed from meadow herbs, light and frothy to lull rather than intoxicate. Elfric placed his straw maiden at the threshold. "Listen," Eadgith murmured to the assembled folk, her voice a thread of silk in the hush. "The moon rises full, her light a balm for weary bones. We offer what we have, and in return she gifts us dreams of plenty." The villagers nodded, their faces illuminated softly, lines of labor easing into serenity. Hands linked in a circle, not tight with urgency, but loose and trusting, they chanted a verse from the old lays. "Earth Mother, deep and kind, hold our thanks in your breast. Let the seeds we sow rest easy, as we rest now in your nest. Breathe with them, dear one, in, drawing the earth's quiet strength, out, releasing the harvest's joyful weight. Your heartbeat slows, syncing with the distant hoot of an owl, guardian of the night." Alfric, nestled against his father's side, felt his eyelids droop as the first tales were shared, not of battles won, but of fields that bloomed under patient hands. Wulfric spoke of his grandfather, who in the year of the great flood had planted barley in flooded furrows, trusting the waters to recede. "And they did," he said, his voice a rumble like distant thunder fading to rain. For the Saxons knew, what is given freely returns in kind. As the feast unfolded, plates passed hand to hand with murmurs of "Westhu Hall, be whole, be well." The air filled with the subtle music of wooden spoons on clay bowls, the pop of chestnuts in the hearth. Mildrith sang a cradle song to the children, her melody weaving through the barn like smoke. "Sleep, little seed, in soil's soft bed, dreams of green shoots overhead. Moonlight guards your tiny form, till dawn brings warmth and storm-calmed norm." The nervous system, that intricate web of whispers within you, begins to unwind now, listener. Each note of the song uncoils a knot in your thoughts. Each shared bite of bread grounds you in the present's gentle hold. Historical threads reveal that such feasts fortified not just bodies, but souls. Saxon lore, holding that the full moon amplified intentions, turning gratitude into a shield against winter's chill. Hours slipped by like sand through fingers. The gathering, shifting from tables to the hay-strewn floor, for dances that swayed rather than stamped. Partners moved in slow circles, hands brushing like leaves in a breeze, to the pluck of a lyre strung with horsehair. Edgith watched from her woven chair, her eyes tracing the moon's path through the open door, and she knew the ritual was complete when the first yawns rippled through the crowd, soft as sighs. Ælfric, his straw maiden tucked under his arm, followed his father home through the lantern-lit path. The village slept under a canopy of stars, the river murmuring approvals. In his bed of heather-stuffed ticking, Ælfric dreamed of endless fields, golden and forgiving, where worries dissolved like mist at dawn. And you, dear listener, feel that same pull toward slumber. Let the harvest's peace settle over you, heavy as a quilt of woven straw. Your breaths deepen. Your mind drifts on the river of the tale, carrying you toward the next chapter's dawn. Rest now. The moon watches kindly, and when you wake in dreams, remember, abundance is the quiet gift of thanks given softly. Chapter 2: Echoes of the Winter Hearth. As the harvest's gold fades to autumn's amber embrace, we return to Eldridge Hollow, where the winds now carry the crisp kiss of frost, and the trees stand sentinel, their branches like arms outstretched in quiet prayer. The days shorten, shadows lengthen like old friends settling in, and the Saxons turn inward, toward the glow of hearths and the warmth of shared stories. Breathe with the turning wheel, listener, in, inviting the earth's stored sunlight, out, exhaling leaves that crunch underfoot, releasing summer's fleeting heat. This second chapter unfolds in the heart of winter's approach, during the festival of Modraniet, Mother's Night, a vigil on the eve of the Yuletide season, when the veil between worlds thins like fog at dawn. It was a time for the Saxons to honor the matrons, the divine mothers who wove the fates of families through the dark months. Not a feast of excess, but a gathering of quiet reverence, designed to calm the spirit against the night's encroaching chill. Edith, the village's silver-haired guide, rose before the stars retreated, her breath clouding the air as she kindled the first fire of the season. In Saxon tradition, fire was life's breath, a spark from the gods to chase away the void. She added oak logs, sacred to Thunor, the thunder lord whose hammer struck not in rage, but in protective rhythm, and whispered invocations. Psst, Modra, hear us in the hush. Wrap your children in wool and trust. The flames caught, low and steady, their crackle a lullaby that eased the bite of the wind whistling through the eaves. Young Ælfric, bundled in a cloak of wool dyed with woad's gentle blue, joined the women at the weaving looms. Modranit called for the crafting of fates, long threads spun from flax harvested under the wane moon, dyed in colors of earth and sky, each strand a wish for health. Mildred explained, her fingers deft as she passed the shuttle. We weave not to bind, but to loosen fears, letting the pattern unfold as the river does. Ælfric's small hands trembled at first with the cold, but as the rhythm took hold, pull, twist, release, Warmth bloomed in his chest, mirroring the slow unfurling of calm in your own body now. Let your muscles soften with each weave, dear one. Feel the tension in your neck melt like snowflakes on tongue. Your jaw unclench as if exhaling a long-held breath. The historical heart of Modronit beats softly here. In the 6th century, as Christianity's light mingled with pagan embers, this night became the root of Twelfth Night, a bridge of women's wisdom preserved in the church's quiet corners. By midday, the hollow buzzed with subdued energy. Families baking soul cakes, round loaves stamped with crosses of dough, symbols of life's eternal turn. These were not sweets for revelry, but humble offerings left at crossroads for wandering spirits, ensuring safe passage through the dark. Wulfric kneaded the dough with Aelfric, his large hands enveloping the boys. The Saxons baked these to feed the unseen, he murmured, that they might rest easy, and so might we. The oven's heat radiated like a promise, scents of cardamom and dried apple wafting out, wrapping the village in invisible arms. As dusk fell, heavy as a velvet curtain, the folk gathered in the great hall, a timbered space with walls hung in tapestries of woven tales. Edith lit the Yule log, a mighty ash bough felled with axe and psalm, its carving invoking the Disir, ancestral mothers whose guidance came in dreams, not decrees. Tonight, she said, her voice blending with the fire's sigh, we sit in circle, share. The circle formed, knees touching in gentle contact, hands resting palm up on laps to receive the flow of peace. Stories flowed like mead from horns, tales of Queen Eanfled, a 7th century ruler who blended Saxon rites with new faiths. Her court feasts marked by psalms, some to harp strings. She taught us, Edith intoned, that winter's dark is but a womb for light, a time to listen to the heart's soft drum. Breathe in the smoke's woody embrace. Out, letting go of daylight's demands. Aelfric, seated by Mildrith, nibbled a soul cake, its crumb dissolving like a secret on his tongue. The women's chants rose then, low and layered. Modra milled, cradle the night, spin our worries into flight. The words vibrated through the hall. Plates of roasted chestnuts and mulled cider passed, the latter spiced with cloves that pricked the tongue just enough to awaken senses without stirring unrest. Laughter bubbled softly, like springs under ice, as elders recounted the wassail, door-to-door blessings with toasts of Westhu Hall, fostering bonds that winter could not fray. Historical echoes remind us these rituals from the Anglo-Saxon chronicles' faded inks wove community tighter than any chain, teaching resilience through repose. As the log burned low, its embers pulsing like a sleeping heart, the gathering turned to silent vigil. Blankets draped shoulders, heads nodded in unison, and Edith led a final prayer. Mothers of old, enfold us now. Let dreams be harbors, sleep our vow. Aelfric's eyes closed first, his dreams filling with threads of silver light, weaving paths through starlit woods. You feel it too, listener, the hearth's glow fading to memory, your body a vessel of warmth, sinking deeper into the mattress's embrace. Let winter's quiet cloak you, each breath a thread in the mother's loom, carrying you softly to the next chapter's springtime whisper. Rest, the Disseer watch with gentle eyes, and in slumber, find the strength of roots unseen. Chapter 3. Blossoms of the May Queen. Spring stirs in Eldridge Hollow like a secret shared between earth and sky. The frost's grip loosening into rivulets that dance toward the sea. Buds unfurl on hawthorn branches, pink as dawn's blush, and the air hums with the buzz of bees, a symphony too soft to startle sleep's approach. Walk with me now, listener, along petal-strewn paths, your steps light as thistledown. Breathe in the bloom of renewal, out, shedding winter's last crystalline sigh. Our third chapter blooms in the merry month of Miasmoneth, during the Eoster feast, a celebration of the dawn goddess whose name lingers in our Easter, a Saxon rite of fertility and light. It was a time when the people crowned their May Queen, not in pomp, but in petals and promises, to awaken the land's quiet pulse and soothe the soul's lingering shadows. Edith, her braids now threaded with fresh violets, gathered the maidens at the sacred spring, where water bubbled clear as memory. Eostra, hare-footed herald of spring, was invoked with garlands of primrose and offerings of dyed eggs, symbols of life's hidden spark, painted in earth tones to mirror the waking world. The goddess teaches balance, Edith murmured, her fingers anointing brows with spring water. Light follows dark, as breath follows pause. Find peace in the turn. ... Aelfric, now budding into boyhood's grace, helped Wulfric erect the maypole, a birch stripped smooth, its ribbons waiting like veins for color's flow. Saxon lore held the pole as Yggdrasil's echo, the world tree linking realms. By noon, the meadow thrummed with subdued joy. Villagers in tunics embroidered with floral runes, Theo for fortune, Beoch for birth. Mildrith, her hair crowned with cowslips, was chosen May Queen, her selection by lots drawn from a basket of blooming branches. I wear these not for glory, she laughed lightly, but to carry the season's whisper, that all may feel its calm. The ribbon dance began, circles weaving inward and out, feet tracing patterns like ripples from a stone skipped in still water. No frantic spins, but slow spirals that mirrored the sun's path, hands linking loosely to foster flow. Aelfric danced with the children, his laughter a brook's gurgle, learning the steps that taught unity without force. Songs rose, lilting lays. Aostra fair, with hair's soft leap, wake the sleepers from winter's keep. Blossoms break and hearts unbind, peace in petals, joy entwined. Breathe with the melody, in, drawing nectar sweet air, out, petals falling from thoughts unneeded. The feast's board held spring's first gifts, nettle soups simmered to soothe, tansy cakes for digestion's ease, and mead of dandelion wine, golden and grounding. Elders shared tales of the goddess's tears turning to dew, nourishing fields and fostering forgiveness in feuds long faded. As the pole's ribbons nodded in intricate peace, the maying shifted to the orchard for the blessing of boughs. Eadgif led, sprinkling cider on roots. Grow gentle, give freely, as we give thanks. Historical roots delve deep. These rites, from the tribal Hittage's ancient tallies, ensured communal health, their calm core preserving Saxon resilience through Mercian kings and beyond. Twilight brought the Queen's procession, Mildred scattering petals that caught the last light like fireflies at rest. The village supped under arboreal canopies, voices hushed in gratitude. Aelfric's head pillowed on a bed of moss, dreaming of hares leaping through eternal meadows. Feel the orchard's hush envelop you, listener, your pulse a petal's drift. Your mind a bough bending in breeze. Let Eostra's light linger, a soft glow behind closed lids, guiding you towards summer's solstice song. Sleep comes as naturally as bloom to branch. Rest in her embrace. Chapter 4. Twilight of the Eternal Wheel. Summer's zenith crests in Eldridge Hollow, the solstice sun hanging high like a golden locket, casting long shadows that invite repose rather than retreat. Fields ripple in heat's gentle haze, wildflowers nodding in drowsy accord, and the air thickens with the hum of contentment earned. Lie back now, dear listener, under this imagined canopy. Breathe in the sun-warmed clover. Out, letting the day's zenith fade to evening's velvet sigh. In this final chapter, we crown the year with Litha, the midsummer feast, a Saxon nod to the sun's peak, a time for bonfires that burned bright but brief, symbols of light's triumph over encroaching night. It was a celebration of culmination, where feasts fed not just the body, but the weary wanderer's wish for wholeness, easing into the wheel's eternal turn. Edith, adorned with sunflowers' radiant faces, kindled the balefire on the hill crest at dusk, its flames leaping like joyful spirits, yet contained in circles of stone to honor sacred bounds. Litha calls us to peek and pause, she intoned, her words carried on smoke's upward curl. The sun gifts her all, that we may rest in the giving. Offerings of herbs, mugwort for dreams, vervain for peace, were cast in, their aromas a sedative mist that softened edges of sight and soul. Aelfric, tall for his years, gathered oak leaves with Mildred, crafting crowns for the fire's leap, a tradition from the old gods' games, where Baldur's light was mirrored in mortal mirth. Leap with intention, not force, Wulfric advised, his eyes crinkling like parchment in smile. The flames purify, but gently, as rain cleans the leaf. The historical flame of Litha flickers in Tacitus's Germania, where Teutonic kin to Saxons danced round fires toward winter's whisper. Later, softened by monastic scribes into John's Eve vigils. As stars pricked the deepening blue, the village ascended the hill, baskets brimming with summer's kiss, strawberry fools whipped to cloud-like fluff, barley water infused with lemon balm for nerves' balm. The circle formed around the blaze, hands joined in solar chain, and songs swelled, hymns to Sunna, the Saxon solar lady. Golden wheel, turn slow and true. Light our paths, our slumbers too. Peak of day to night's soft bed, in your ark, all fears are shed. Breathe through the chant's cadence. In, absorbing fire's warm wisdom. Out, ashes drifting like forgiven faults. Dances encircled the flames, steps measured as heartbeats, partners exchanging crowns in gestures of unity. Tales unfurled of King Offa's dikes, built not in haste, but harmony with the land, teaching that boundaries born of balance bring peace profound. The feast waned with the fire's glow, suppers savored in recline. Aelfric's tales of the day's wonders lulling babes to breath. Eadgith's closing rite, embers raked to a bed of light, where dreams were invited to root. The wheel turns ever, she whispered, from seed to flame and back to rest. And so the year circles, listener, as does this tale, harvest to winter, spring to summer's sigh. Feel the solstice's peak dissolve into your own, body heavy as sun-ripened fruit, mind adrift on balefire's fading spark. Historical cycles affirm. Saxon feasts were life's metronome, pacing progress with pauses for peace. Let them guide you now, deeper, into sleep's boundless hollow. Good night. The wheel cradles you. Dreams await an eternal calming turn.